My name's Mireille Soria. I'm president of Paramount Animation.
So I wanted to start by getting your thoughts on this View conference here in Turin, Italy.
It's fantastic. I mean, amazing people, innovative thinkers, people from all different walks of life, and you're in Italy. What can be bad?
When it comes to being in Italy, can you talk a little about the global nature of the animation business today?
It's funny because I think the global nature of film, of all film, is undeniable now. But in particular, animation. I think that one of the things I love about animated movies, are that they really try to speak to everybody everywhere. So we have to make sure from the concept on that that they're universal in their appeal.
This audience also is very much made up of young, aspiring animators. What's it like to be able to speak directly to that type of audience?
Wow, it's wonderful. It's like they're the future, and I have great faith in them. So I think that what's so impressive is their ease with the technology, and their ability to think of it as really as a means to an end, to create anything that they can imagine.
And speaking of technology, can you talk a little about the role the evolution of technology has played in being able to bring these imagination stories to life on the big screen in the time that you've been working on them?
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand, for me to speak about technology, I would go home and tell my husband and kids, I'd be in this IT meeting, and they would just look at me and laugh, and I'd say, I know, they were very polite to me and listened and asked my opinion, and I was my kids just laugh because I am not technological. But what is unbelievable, and what I feel I've gotten to know many of the great people who work in effects and who work in IT and creating the tools that we use, is that we're all focused on the same thing, which is how can we make an exciting movie? How can we make a movie that's great? And I think that it's also about, I say to artists who have to transition in using new tools, is that what is important and valuable is inside of you, is the art. You bring the artistry to whatever you do. The technology allows you to do it in a way that's either faster or better or more.
When it comes to animation, especially CGI today, can you talk a little about the role that plays in this evolving Hollywood, which seems to be built now around a lot superheroes and animated movies seem to be at the top of the rung these days?
I think that actually the lines have been blurred between what is an animated movie and what is not, because of the technology. When you have the superhero movies are half animated, you have Jon Favreau's Jungle Book is completely animated yet looks realistic. I think that what that means is a lot of times it forces us to say, why are we doing this story as an animated movie versus a live action? So what's great about that is that it pushes us to really say, let's do something that you can't do for under $300 million in live action. So how do we create these worlds? How can we, sometimes the answer is obvious. It's about talking animals, and sometimes it's obvious because of the vision of the filmmaker and that it's this whole other world, or the style of it is different than ours. But I think it's good. It pushes us to try to do better.
What's it been like when it comes to talking animals, of being able to explore stories on the big screen, but also have digital and television series availability as well today?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. I love it that people have fallen in love with these characters so much that they want to see them in different forms. I also believe, having started in television, that developing the story for television can be very different than in a live act, than a feature, for example. For example, for a series, you really need great characters. People come back because they love those characters. That's why they come back every week or watch and binge watch. They fall in love with those characters. You do need a good story. You need an engine and all that. But the main thing I always felt in developing for television were those characters. In a feature, it's really the story. You need great characters, but you need a story that has a beginning, middle, and end, right? That feels fantastic enough. I think it's wonderful. Our goal is to create franchises, is to create a world that allows you to have all the, to have the games and the toys and all of it. It's wonderful when that happens. I mean, there's nothing more exciting than to go and see I didn't produce Trolls, but I was co-president of DreamWorks and oversaw the movie. And I was in a little town, Ashland, North Carolina, and there was this little girl going by, and I had to stop and I took a picture to send it to the people on the movie. And she had, her hair was done up, and kind of, I don't know how she did it, lots of hairspray, and sprayed in a color, and she was dressed like Poppy. And it was like unbelievably exciting to see that. So it's great when that happens.
And you just mentioned games, but also we're seeing more and more exploration with virtual reality. What has that opened up for these types of characters?
I think that's a world that is really exciting, but still yet to be seen how it evolves. I'm an advisor on the board of Baobab. I know Kane Lee is here also this week. I'm excited to see him. And it's been really a learning experience for me, working with them and working with Eric. I advise on script and see it as it progresses and discuss notes with Eric Darnell. It's interesting because it's a different way of telling a story. You have to think without edits. So what is it that gets your attention? So I love that kind of stuff. I love the idea of thinking of a short story in a different way. But I think it remains to be seen how what the evolution of that is.
And we just had Hans Zimmer speak, and it also VR takes a different puts sound more front and center than even film does.
No question.
So that's an interesting exploration of how to get your eyes to move.
Yeah. I can tell you, Kane will tell you about it, but in Baobab, their latest is Rainbow Crow, and John Legend is a producer on it and a voice, and also created the music for it. And the music is a big part of it. It's really exciting.